Just getting this on record, really. Video is, this is just easier for me to transcribe later and create videos. Here I am documenting my life at like what time. I'm exhausted. Since I installed my Christmas display on November 13th, 2020, the 14th, my landlord came by and after I had done all of the work, just came by to block my car, make me have to deal with her because I had to leave, and she was there for a while and she was ignoring me. It took me like 2 minutes to get her attention and just to move her car. And like, I asked her for a thank you, considering I already raked up the whole yard. Yeah, she said the only thing that the front yard needed was a match, and that it looked like a bordello, which is a derogatory term to what I do for a living right now because of the broken economy, which is not my fault. No kid grows up thinking that they're gonna do this. Second of all, a couple days later, she knocked over I came outside. I mean, I can only assume that it is her at this point because I really don't have any other enemies that would ever target my place like this many times in 1 month, and also have just threatened me on a recording. So let's see, on the 17th, I woke up, not really woke up, but like, I didn't even notice until like a little bit later because I don't really go outside very much, and it was when I went to take my dog out. All of my planters were knocked over. The ones that I have going up the stairs where she goes all the time were all knocked over and broken, and I'm just like, okay. And this is now like, I've had so many things break so far now, even across the summer, but now I know that it's all been her. So on the 18th, I asked her about the damages. I'm like, why are you knocking over all of my stuff? Because I left some of it just broken on site. I just left it, waiting for her to come around, and she came around. She was there next day, and I'm like, opening the door, why are you breaking my stuff? She completely ignores me. She tells me she's here maintaining her property. I'm like, okay. Anyways, that day she must have taken my wreath. The wreath on my front door was neatly untied, meaning like it was really well put together by a couple wires, and like it wasn't cut. It was like, it's hard to, it would have been hard to like steal if somebody wasn't walking around with like wire clippers and didn't have a lot of time and patience. So it was like slowly removed from the lamp. And I mean, I think a punk would have just ripped it off anyway. I don't think they would have cared. Probably would have ripped the whole thing right off the wall. So I think it was her, because my wreath is now missing. And on the 20th, we had a snowstorm, and she was on site for like, was it the 20th? Yeah, whenever we had a bunch of snow. It's the 22nd. So yeah, the 22nd, she's doing snow removal. Really funny story though, actually, because it was like all day the snow had been sitting there, and like our neighbors had been plowed twice already professionally. And so the person that lives above me actually started to go outside and started plowing the snow himself. And there's cameras back there, and I think she might have watched him started shoveling because she like showed up really quickly, in the middle of him shoveling and like told him to go inside because it's included in the rent. And yeah, he showed up with she showed up with two people, and she was outside wandering around the place like for a few hours. And that night my Christmas lights stopped working, and I'm just like, okay, cool. I guess I'll just take it apart and see what's wrong with that. Hoping that maybe it was a squirrel and that my landlord isn't that fucking crazy. Um, and I took it off the bush, and it was a straight diagonal cut on the wire, like no teeth marks. So like somebody like sliced the wire on my Christmas lights, stole my wreath, knocked over my Christmas display, and threatened to torch my garden, or the front garden Christmas display, since putting it up on November 13th. And the police don't care. There's been a lot of other criminal activity. When I call the Ontario Landlord and Tenant Board, they like tell me to call the police. And then when I call the police, they tell me to go down to the courthouse and file it myself. And then when I call the courthouse, they tell me to call the police. Like I'm never paying taxes and I want a rebate. I want a refund on 100% of all the taxes I've ever paid ever in my entire life, including just all